Hello, and Rand here, and you ready for an extremely overkill soundboard upgrade? This is my current Behringer X32 USB, and we're going to be upgrading it to something slightly larger, possibly a little more overkill. That's right, everyone. When I said overkill, I wasn't kidding. Okay, everyone, so what is this? This is the Behringer X32 Compact. I believe they make this in 3 different sizes. I've got the middle size here, so this is like the middle size-wise here. They do have one smaller. I probably would have liked to have gotten that one, everyone, but I picked this board up used, and I would say I got a pretty good price on it. I could not find the smaller size of this board cheaper than what I got this one, so this is why I went with this one. And obviously I didn't get the bigger one. I don't need anything bigger here. This one kind of sort of just fits, and I haven't put my monitor back up. Hopefully we'll see how that monitor fits there once I get that back up there. So anyway, Behringer X32 Compact. This is a digital soundboard here. If you notice, it's nice, and it also has the motorized fader. So I start pushing buttons, you notice faders start moving on their own. I can also control it from the computer here as well. You know, if I move a fader, notice it goes up and down there as well. I can also control it from my iPad too, by the way. Some advantages there of the digital soundboard. The soundboard has the sound card built into it. So it has a 32 input and a 32 output sound card on it. That was one of the things I definitely wanted on the soundboard here. And this one did come with that. So there's different sound cards you can add to this. This one has the 32 input, 32 output USB sound card. Also, real quick, everyone wanted to mention, why did I go with this here? I spent quite a bit of time looking at different soundboards, mainly probably in the Behringer lineup. They have, I would say, some relatively nice middle-of-the-road soundboards that probably would have offered what I wanted to do here, just maybe not quite to the level that this board can do. First off, this board has a lot of processing on it up along the top here. We can do low-cut filters and equalizer, quite a bit of equalizing too. I mean, you can really go crazy with it if you want. Let's see what's there. Got a compressor on it. For those who don't know what these features are, gate. A gate is your low-end cutoff. So, you know, maybe like you're breathing into your microphone, you can turn the gate up and cut that off. So when you start speaking, the gate will open, allowing your voice to come through the microphone. And then when you stop speaking, it'll cut it back off again. So shuts the audio to the microphone off essentially automatically. Compressor kind of tries to maintain a level. So if you're talking at higher voices versus lower voices, it'll try to kind of maintain a kind of a medium level there, if you will. If you start talking really loud, it'll kind of bring it down a little bit. Let's see, what else do we got here? Yeah, like I said, equalizer's got a lot of other fancy options on it, FX effects, all that good stuff. So some of that stuff I'll probably never use much, but if I want to, everyone, it is available. The main thing I wanted here was the multiple mix options with multiple stereo inputs here. That is something I don't think you can really do too much with analog boards. Yes, analog boards will sometimes have stereo inputs, but a lot of times they'll have a lot of mono inputs first, then they'll have a couple of stereo inputs. This one, everyone, I can tie each one of these inputs together to be a stereo input. So, obviously the first two I don't, but everything else, everyone up here, is tied together as a stereo input. So that's one of the things I wanted. I did look at like the Go XLR, a couple of those other things like that. Everyone just wasn't really happy with what I was seeing, especially for the pricing. That Go XLR was really expensive. Looked like it had some nice features in it, just wasn't sure it would quite do what I wanted it to do. So, decided to spend the money, everyone, and went with this. And like I said, I got it used, so I paid a pretty good price for it. Okay, everyone, before we go ahead and switch this out here, I kind of just wanted to go over this real quick. I thought some of you might be curious how I have this laid out. And I would say, at least in my application, it works pretty good. So first things first, we'll just go through the inputs here. Input number 1, I've got my main microphone. And I have this, you can see the mute light is on. This is going out the Alt34 bus. Also the same thing for number 2. Number 2 is also a microphone, a wireless mic over here as well. That also goes out the Alt34 bus. And the reason for that, everyone, is I have a second input here for the microphone in OBS Studio. That way I can apply different effects to the microphone versus my main mix, like game audio, separately. The main effects I would typically apply in OBS, by the way, are like a gate and a compressor. This does have a compressor on it. I'm not sure how it works compared to like a significantly better software compressor that is available in OBS Studio. But suffice to say, this board does have a compressor on it as well. Going to the next set of inputs here, I have 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are typically what I connect to my iPhone, so if I'm playing music on my live stream, this is where I have that from. And you've probably noticed if you watch any of my live streams, I have some problems with music sometimes. And that's because I think it's number 3 here is going. This number 3 slider, it does weird things sometimes. So that is one reason I'm replacing this board, by the way. Number 3 here is acting up a little bit. Moving on to the next one, we have 5 and 6 here. 5 and 6 is my main computer input. So game audio, anything from the computer is coming from that. Up next we have 7 and 8. 7 and 8 is my iPad input. This is where I typically run my TeamSpeak audio. So for the stream I can completely change the TeamSpeak audio volume. This gives it to me on a slider. Now I do have a second set of TeamSpeak inputs here as well. The set of TeamSpeak inputs I listen to are coming in on the 2-track input here. So the 2-track input, and this simply just runs right to the main if you want it to. However, there is no volume slider for this, everyone. So this is why I don't run this to the main mix. So if you notice, there's a little switch here. You can send this to the main mix, but there's no volume control for this. Don't know what Behringer was thinking with this, but you have no volume control over this input. It's just on or off, so I have it off. And if you're wondering why I have it set up this way, this is so I can turn down the TeamSpeak volume on the live stream. You can no longer hear TeamSpeak on the live stream. However, I can still hear it through my 2-track input, which is selected to be on for the headphones. Next, going around back here to the outputs, plus there's one output here as well. This output here is to my main speakers, so this is something I want to address as well. Not the greatest way of outputting this, if you ask me, so we're going to fix that with a new board. We got our main output here. This is the main recording mix, game audio, stuff like that. Also TeamSpeak and the music also all go out the main output. Next up we have the Alt34 outputs, which if you remember earlier when I was saying my inputs here are tied to the Alt34. That's where these go. These are the microphone outputs, which go to a second input on the computer here. That way, again, as I said in OBS, I can control those differently than the main mix. And then finally, we got the control room output, which I'm not sure why, but I've got my headphones connected to that. I know I had them connected here at one point. Don't remember the reason, but I switched that around for some reason. Oh, and just realized I forgot to mention one other input and output as well. On the back here, we got the USB output and input. I'm not using the output on this here currently. I am, however, using the input, at least if you look at it on the computer side of things here. So my main mix is also going out the USB output here, which I'm actually currently using that in OBS Studio. So I'm not actually using this in OBS Studio. I'm actually using the USB here, which is a digital connection here to the computer. Don't know with this board if it's actually any better than the main outputs. Not sure on that, but that is what I'm currently using. So this USB here will handle 2 lines of input and 2 lines of output. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pull all the wires out. I'm just going to take them all out, just be done with all of them, and I'm going to run completely new wires for the new board, and maybe clean this mess up here a little bit as well, or possibly make it worse. We'll see once. Well, there's the mess of cables I all pulled out. Not too bad, actually. Yep, that takes up a little bit more space. Okay, let's boot it up. Okay, everyone, after about, I'd say probably 2 hours of programming and setting this up and running wires, everyone, I think I finally got this somewhat set up, hopefully in a way that's going to work. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to stay that way. I'm going to have to use it a couple times, obviously, and see if I like the setup. I haven't changed it a whole lot from my old one here, except I've added 2 additional mixes. My old board only supported 2 mixes. You had your main mix and your sub mix. This one you can have a lot, probably. No idea how many I have one. There's at least, I think, 16 on the board. There's only 8 outputs, though, so you'd have to add another output panel to add more. But anyway, I'm only using 4. So let's go through this here real quick. Inputs, everyone, pretty simple. Got my microphone. Got my second microphone. You can see I got that one off. Don't typically use that one. I've got my stereo computer inputs here. These are digitally coming from the computer. So the playback device on my computer here is set to the digital output on this board. If you're not familiar with how that works, when you have a digital soundboard like this, a lot of times you can plug it into your computer. And on your computer, it will create an input and an output. In this case, this board supports 32 inputs and 32 outputs. Unfortunately, though, with the way the computer works, unless there's a way to change this one, I don't know. You can just tell it to play out, and it only plays out output 1 and 2, which is fine. That works perfectly fine for what I need, everyone. So playback outputs 1 and 2 on the computer. Next to it, I have my TeamSpeak. That I have manually being sent out, because like I said, there's only one output here on the computer. There's only one USB output. So this one is coming out my aux output here. I've got a little board back there from Sound Blaster by Creative that has a line out and a line in. Actually, that is this device right here. So that is my TeamSpeak inputs there. Next to it, I have my iPad outputs. At least in the past, everyone, this is how I did TeamSpeak. With the new board here, I should not have to do that anymore. Hopefully that's the plan. We'll see how that goes. My plan is to run TeamSpeak completely through my computer. And with that, I can now mix where it goes, because I have multiple mixing options. Previously I had 2. Now I have all kinds of them. I'm currently using 4. So on the mix side, oh, and I do have one more set of inputs here. I did create one for my iPhone as well. So on the second layer of the mix here, I have 2 more inputs. Again, I got the inputs tied together, one for stereo. So they're set to stereo. Over on the output side here, this is what I've come up with. I got my main mix output for recording. So this is my main mix for recording. So, over here, everyone, on my main mix, I can control what of this, on any one of these layers, goes to this. Next up, I have my microphone output for recording. I'm still separating that out. I maybe don't necessarily have to, everyone. I could probably combine my recording mix with my mic mix and combine them together. Because again, I can control all this now. Previously, the last board didn't do that really well, but I still have them separate. And then next up here, I have, gotta look myself here, I got my earbuds here. So my earbud outputs, so I can mix what's going to my earbuds. It does actually have headphone outputs, everyone, but the headphone outputs, it's probably configurable somewhere. I haven't taken the time to figure that out. But the headphone outputs are tied to the main output, which probably would be fine, but it's like, well, you know what, I want to have control over it. So now I have control by having a main mix for my headphones. And then finally, I got my main mix. The main output, the main left-right output, which is tied, I don't know if you can see it there, tied to my speakers. The other one is over on that side. So that is my main speaker output. So with that in mind, everyone, I do not have any speakers connected to my computer. The speaker output is the USB connection to this board, which all the processing is then handled by this board and then sent to the speakers, or, don't push buttons there, sent to my headphones, sent to the mic mix, or sent to the recording mix. So I'm hoping this is going to work out pretty good, everyone. We'll find out. We'll see how it goes. Okay, well, I'm probably going to have a bit of fun editing this video, kind of a little bit all over the place as I try to figure out how to set this up. Again, I didn't really record a whole lot of the setup, everyone, because it was kind of me plugging and unplugging wires here. It's like, okay, no, put that there. Fairly similar setup to my original board. One thing I'm hoping I can maybe integrate yet here is I have a little Bluetooth transmitter and receiver up on my iPad here. When I've got the cables connected, I'm hoping I can maybe eliminate the cables with that. So the cables will obviously be connected to this yet, but then go to the sound or the mixing panel back behind there, and I can have wire. Don't know, everyone. Picked up one of those. I want to see if I can integrate that yet. I didn't for now. For now, I just got the cables running to it. If you're wondering how I have the iPad hooked up, I just got a splitter cable, splits out your microphone and your speaker output to 2 separate wires, and then of course they plug in correspondingly over on the panel here. With that, everyone, if you have any comments or questions, want to know more about this, be sure to throw it down in the comments. Let me know, and I will do my best to explain. And yeah, going forward in the at least my like farming simulator videos, live streaming stuff like that, we'll have to see how this works. Hopefully, it'll work out pretty good. Won't know until I try it. So with that, everyone, thanks for watching. Comments or questions, like I said, throw them down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more, by the way, if you haven't already. Again, thanks for watching, and until next time.